Hello, everyone, and welcome to Law Dog Sports, the weekend big show. Here with you just the second weekend before Thanksgiving, mid-November, and the weather is starting to turn, leaves are falling, and football is on a bye week for OU fans. And a lot of great stuff going on, and I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, here with you every week on the Weekend Big Show, streaming live on YouTube on our channel at Law Dog Sports. Joining me, as he always does, is the ruler of the airwaves, Mr. Jeremy Schroeder. And Jeremy, I tell you, there's football tonight, both college and pro. It's Thursday night football. It's college basketball got started earlier in the week. But really, above all this, you have to look at your scoring app, your scoreboard app, and just say, you know what, my friend, good times are coming, because tomorrow begins the group play for the in-season tournament of the National Basketball Association.
Oh, great. I've had it marked on my calendar. I was losing sleep over it, and it's finally here. It's going to be like Christmas morning tomorrow.
It really will be.
I'm running downstairs. That fake trophy and banner is going to be under the tree.
There's one hanging up in the forum.
Hey, they don't give rings away and hang banners for a 6-game winning streaks, Chuck.
No, that's what Chet Holmgren
Los
said.
Angeles Lakers.
Hopefully that wasn't a quote that will end up biting Chet in the butt. But we'll get into that. But I'll just say this episode might be a little bit therapeutic, Jeremy, because we were both in such a state Saturday night on the college football wrap-up show. Just disbelief, gnashing of teeth. Weeping.
Wringing of hands.
It was the gamut of bad emotions, and to see that debacle in Columbia, Missouri on Saturday night was tough. But since then, I've sat down and reflected on it and looked at it, and bad teams are going to lose in bad ways, and that's what you're looking at. But I did pull back a lot of my venom with regards to Venables in particular. And I'll say this, it was before the votes of confidence, which, we'll talk about that too. But to me, I've been real hard on Bill Bedenbaugh this season. I probably need to cool it a little bit. I probably need to pull that back just a little bit, because, you're talking about a guy who probably has earned some in-store credit, I guess you could say, with his unit's performances in the past. He can't have another season like this, but getting rid of him is probably too harsh. But you know what? I got to thinking also, if they go anybody in the world but Joe John Finley, he may be gone anyway. You don't know that he'll jive with the next OC.
Yeah, but most guys they would bring in would probably want to retain him.
Yeah,
he does have the reputation as being one of the great builders of O-lines. And I know I was very upset Saturday night. I said things. We probably meant most of them on reflection and on a rewatch. The line's getting better. It's not good.
Yeah.
But the quarterback is not seeing the field because he's been hit so many times, because the O-line's been so bad. Yeah. But it is improving.
Yeah. Marty Wandry checking in already. Asked, did Joe C give you a call, Chuck? Yes, he did, and it was a firm.
Sleep with the fishes, C.
It was a firm warning from Joe C, and I heeded it very well. So we will no longer tolerate talk
the
of
Castiglione family is watching you.
Is that actually Joe Castiglione Jr. on Twitter?
It is. Yes,
that's his actual boy.
Yeah, the one that was walking on over to OU. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And they have a podcast, him and, I think it's one of Isaac Stoops. Family
Oh,
business
okay.
podcast. Yeah.
No. So the Fredo of the Stoops family has a
Oh
podcast.
my gosh, really?
Oh, you knew it was coming because we talked off the air before came on that I was going to talk about Fredo Sanders up at Colorado. So, but no, I mean, time to chill out, time to cool down and look at it. I mean, really, here's the thing, and we said this Saturday night, but it just didn't stick as hard. You lose in that fashion to Missouri in a game that you were favored, you know, and for
Sure.
what it's worth, you were favored in that game. Vegas felt like you could go up there and pull a victory because, 2.5 points on the road, that means you'd be a 5-point favorite in Norman, right?
Yeah, definitely, yes. But when you're a team that has never figured out how to offense,
No.
everything they do I mean, it looks so hard. Like it's just you're pushing a boulder uphill. Everything, from getting a
Well,
snap off cleanly to a guy running a slant to just
yeah.
basic blocking schemes. It just looks like there's a lot of thinking going on out there, and it's painful. It's frustrating, but a lot of those it was a great salve for those wounds when the Foji and the Fasusi kids both came out and said they aren't wavering in their commitment. They're still Sooners. And that's the
Well,
4-star tackle and the 5-star tackle if you're not
yeah. Well, and that's
aware.
fine. I mean, obviously the bank is good for them to come to
Yeah.
Norman. I mean, that's what we're dealing with. And so I don't know. I was listening to the Pencil Neck this morning on my station out here in Western Oklahoma, and even he now because of the fact that it's become hard for Lincoln Riley to navigate NIL and the portal. He's come around to say, it's not a great thing for college football. Okay, yeah, we've been saying that.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah, but when it doesn't, when your team can't master it, then you have an issue with it. Obviously, looking at the landscape, Texas will fare well in this current situation for as long as Sark stays sober and if he goes ahead and
Man,
divorces.
why taking shots at Sark like that?
Because it's Texas. Who cares?
Yeah, Texas is going to be just fine as long as they get the easiest SEC schedule of all time. They haven't beat a ranked team this year.
Yeah, we'll get into some playoff poll talk here in just a minute. But I mean, it's good to hear that commitments are sticking strong. I think C.J. Nixon from Weatherford is strong in his commitment. And that's a kid that had offers to a lot of places, but Norman has obviously I think spoken to the concept of being Norman spoke volumes to him and to his family. But I'll say this. I mean, a question for you. Did you need the votes of confidence from Harris and Castiglione this week? Will it stifle the talk or was it unnecessary or will it cause more speculation?
I don't think it's going to cause any more speculation. I don't believe I believe they're not going to fire him. I just don't believe it. You okay?
Oh, Jalen Hurts just went down and he's a little slow getting up. Sorry.
Oh, I think you're a play ahead of me.
Okay.
They're not. I mean, they're in no. I know the big money donors are pissed. They are probably meeting behind closed doors saying we need to get rid of this guy, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, you can't. I mean,
And it was pretty organic. It was reporters just walking up, having a conversation, ask a question, and they didn't go out of their way to say it like we've seen so many times in the past. It was he's our guy. We're with him. So,
but with this kind of season, I mean, anytime those two figures go out in public, they should expect that type of questioning.
Well,
right? I mean, it's not something people are, especially, hey, we're on a bye week, we'll let it go, whatever. Did you see the picks that Philly ran on each other on that? So games going on right now. Tulsa's tied at the half against East Carolina. That's at Reynolds Stadium up in T-Town, 17-all. And then Dallas, the Mavericks lead Utah with 45 seconds left in the first quarter, 28-27. And then later, actually should be underway, New Mexico State college basketball, Kansas State, LSU. college basketball. And then Oklahoma State is leading Southern Illinois. The Salukis trailing in Stillwater 66-53. That's 9:31 left to go in the second quarter. And then this one in what is that? Lincoln Financial Field. I'll never not call it the Vet.
Well, it's not even the same stadium.
Well, I know, but it's the Eagle Stadium. I'll never not call it the Vet.
The Vet was that old gross cookie cutter thing.
It was terrible.
There oh my goodness!
There's a lot of ACLs that.
Oh my gosh! Michael Irvin left his spine there.
Oh yeah. I'm sure Billy Sims took a pounding on that too.
Oh my goodness.
But no, and that brings up something else I want to talk about, because the argument, when we get to the NBA and talking about Le Brouhaha and all of his glory in LA, I just kind of want to talk about the GOAT discussion a little bit tonight. But I tell you, college football is interesting in the fact, Jeremy, that it is still maintaining what it's always brought to the table, even in these situations with NIL and the portal, because, I mean, there was NIL before they called it NIL. It was called illegal payments.
And we were all fine with it.
And a lot of schools did it, So, but, and it's just ironic that one of the, probably the greatest college coach of all time decides 2 seasons into NIL, I'm probably gonna opt out of this.
This was a lot more fun when I was just giving guys Dodge Chargers off the books.
Yeah. And, but anyways, I'll say this, with the NIL that the University of Alabama had set up down there in Tuscaloosa back when it wasn't called NIL, they really did a very good job of making those paid players perform, and that's the kicker to it all. And I think that's where, I think when you look at OU and OSU's in a different hurt locker. They're both in the hurt locker. OSU's in a different one because, what happens when these players that you do give some NIL to, but you've basically developed them along the way? What happens when they all fizz out? Where do you go from there?
Yeah, Oklahoma State's in a unique situation because a lot of the guys that they were able to grab in-state on scholarship and develop are going to Oklahoma as preferred walk-ons.
Yeah,
and that's a weird situation. Oklahoma State's just, I don't know where they go from here. They don't have the recruiting budget. They definitely aren't going to have the NIL collectives and the kind of cash to spread around. What do you do up there?
You get the coach to take a pay cut.
Well, I mean, he's
already done that.
2 of wearing the Babe Ruth jersey and dragging the trophies around in the parking lot. They are not going to fire him.
Jerry, I can't get fired.
I mean, he's going to dig Boone up and have him sitting in his office chair just to see what happens.
Comment on YouTube Live where we are streaming. We've got some viewers checking in. Marty Wandry from Clinton Liquor in Clinton, Oklahoma says NIL would be okay without the transfer portal. At least they would stay longer. Hey, NIL needs to have contracts. You sign a contract, and if you want to play 4 years, we'll cut you a check for this much. If you want, if you want to go year to year, here you go. It's going to be less. I mean, that's
and we're going to get into that. My thoughts on the portal is you get one freebie. After that, you sit a year. No spring portal. It's year to year.
Yeah, because you can't have programs, and even a program like Texas. You can't have a program trying to shuffle and figure out who they can bring in because somebody decided to enter the portal, after your signing day? I mean,
right.
And that's where the pencil neck was correct. The NCAA situation and NIL and the portal and all that stuff, it overcorrected too far, and now it's got to be brought back in.
And far be it for me to be critical of USC, but they put the cart a million miles in front of the horse with their NIL. They promised things to guys and just did not have the infrastructure set up to deliver. And you're seeing that now.
Have you heard of this quarterback? And I'll look it up real quick. I don't know the name. I want to say it might be Underwood or something like that. But there's a quarterback who I think is committed to the Louisiana State University, and he is. There was an article I read that said that he is looking at. He's a 5-star, and that he could flip his commitment to the University of Michigan for
Michigan. Bryce Underwood.
Bryce Underwood. That's who it is. Bryce Underwood. That he could flip his commitment away from LSU to Michigan for an 8-figure NIL. And I had to sit. You know me in math. I had to sit there and think, okay, 8 figures. So 6 figures is 100,000 to 1 million.
Yeah, so we're talking 10 million.
It's 10 million, or it could be 19.9. You know,
he's going to get $10 million to go up to Michigan and turn around and hand the ball off and get out of the way.
Yeah.
Hell,
And
throw check downs.
Once in a while on third down. Did we talk about this Saturday night and I forgot?
Maybe.
Oh, God. I might go back and delete the college
It's
football.
getting a little late in the day there, Pops.
But a team in this region that is navigating NIL and the portal pretty dang well, and a conference change, and that's the Ponies.
You're damn right.
Ponies of Southern Methodist University, baby. You want to talk paying players? We perfected it, baby.
Except the royal we, huh? Yeah. They were pretty good at it. They actually had the NIL collective well before anybody had even thought, before the O'Bannons.
Oh yeah. It was,
they had to, you play this position, this is your salary range.
It was 30 for 30 worthy.
Yeah. It was crazy.
But after everything's said and done, nobody goes after Craig James for anything improper or illegal. But
hey, you know what? They had a brief flash of glory and 40 years of obscurity.
Yeah. They're going back and looking, really? Death penalty?
Yeah, I know, right?
But really for a team that managed to land in a Power 4 conference, which, there are those that would argue ACC is truly being Power 4 right now, but up until Miami got beat, there were people that thought they had a true, playoff first round contender, but SMU is navigating it so well. And now that I've said that, they're favored by 19.5 over Boston College, whose quarterback walked away from the team this week, and Castellanos, and they'll go out and puke down their legs since I'm touting.
There's a drive deep to left field, and that's going to be a home run. Oh, wait, different Castellanos.
Yeah, not
I don't know if I'm going to put this headset on again.
Yeah. But no, it's just, looking at the Oklahoma situation, they've got to right the ship. They've got to get it figured out. And, all of that can change because honestly, I know it's easy, and I've done it, to go back and criticize releasing Josh Heupel after what he's been able to do as a head coach and an offensive mind, whatever. But whatever he's doing now, he might not have been, experienced enough in his career and his play calling and stuff like that to have done it then. And obviously, it was a situation between him and the rest of the him and the head coach that felt the need to change, and it worked for OU.
Yeah.
It worked for several years.
It was a terrible situation when he was at OU. They wanted him to run the Johnny Manziel offense with Trevor Knight, and it just didn't work for him. And he got to go
quarterback if you're going to do that.
Well, true. I mean, if he could have hung out for one more year and went back to air raid with Baker, what happens then? You know?
Yeah.
But he got to leave and spread his wings and learn his own style, create his own system, and it's worked out great for him. I'm glad.
He's got a chance this week to roll into Athens, and if his defense can pressure Carson Beck halfway the way they pressured Jackson Arnold and Michael Hawkins, they could roll out of there with a win.
Is that going to be a Kirby fire and brimstone pregame speech?
Oh,
and
yeah.
They go out and lose to Tennessee.
Well, maybe, but I just figured Georgia will screw everything up. They've been disrespected now, from the playoff committee, and so they'll go out and demolish this week. Just a muddy.
Tutankhamun will go out there and throw for 405 touchdowns.
He's a bizarre looking dude. I'll tell you that much. He is. Whew.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, so a lot of college football this week, and we'll get into our college football pick 'em here in just a little bit. We appreciate you joining us this early episode here on a Thursday night. Dan Narva from Michigan checking in. He says,
Dan-O.
need to look up to see if ECU at Tulsa was a conference game. It is. It's an American conference game. And Connor Stallions is calling plays for that Belleville quarterback that Michigan wants so bad.
So he may not be any good at all. They just advanced scout their opponents a lot better.
Yeah. So that I assume he's talking about Underwood. And hey, if you want good Michigan information, talk to somebody who's a fan of Sparty. That's always. So thank you, Dan Narva.
Always said with a little bit of villain.
Also, a quick shout out to Dan Narva, our super fan. One of our super fans celebrated I think he said 25th anniversary with his lovely bride, and his picture on Facebook, Jeremy, kind of disproved our Benjamin Button theory. He was really young looking 25 years ago. Looked like a kid. So he's just aged well in that Michigan winter.
Well, you look at that. Well, congratulations, Dan.
Yeah, congrats.
Many happy returns.
Anyways, thank you, Dan, for checking in. And anybody else watching that wants to comment, just feel free to comment on the show, and we will read it live on the air as long as it's not too critical, I guess. But anyways, but Jeremy, looking at college football, last thing I'll say on it before we get into our pick'ems, there's a theory that the worst season that the three Oklahoma teams have had in the past 30 years combined was 1996. And if I remember right, that was a 3-win season for OU.
3-8.
Yeah, 3-8. OSU was right there also.
Well, they beat Texas.
OSU was better. That was the year OSU went to Norman, and RW McQuarters was just running nothing but streak routes, and Dick Winder.
Hold on a sec.
Bill Young wouldn't send a safety over the top.
96 was that not in Stillwater? Yeah, because 12-0 was
okay.
in Norman the year before that.
1-9, wasn't it?
96 OU went 3-8. They beat
Texas,
Oklahoma State, and Baylor.
Okay, so Tulsa was terrible, OU was terrible, and OSU was terrible in 96. That was the year that the original Twister was released.
So what you're telling me is I only got to wait a couple more years for the Sooners to win another natty. All right, cool.
Yeah. So now the new Twister has been released. So that's why we're in the predicament we are in the state of Oklahoma. But football is really bad, and I heard somebody talking the other day. And I hate to I might have been in the city listening to the urinal. But anyway, there's only one collegiate team in this state, regardless of division. NAIA, I don't know if there's any NAIA, but there's Division II. All the Division IIs, out of everyone, D1, UCO is the only program I heard them say with a winning record in this state.
University of Central Oklahoma Bronchos.
The Bronchos are
the Bronchos.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they'll run into a GAC buzzsaw either in Ouachita Baptist or Harding, and so that will end for them.
Yeah. Steve Anderson asks if we think that the extended playoff could save college football this season, meaning how weird the season has been overall. Yeah, I think so. It's going to shake out just probably how we thought it would at the beginning of the season, right?
Sure. I mean,
it always has. The 14 playoff always kind of went along with the BCS, and the best teams are going to be at the top, right? The cream rises.
Yeah, I think so. Now, what my statement was: Southeastern Oklahoma State is 5-5. They could go. They could get a winning record. Just so everybody knows, they play East Central this week. They'll probably win that one. That would put them at 6-5, and they would be the second team in the state with a winning record. So Steve Anderson's Southeast, they're not Savages anymore. I think they're Savage Storm.
Is that down in Durant?
Durant,
down in Durant,
the alma mater of one Dennis Rodman.
That's right.
Yep. Marty Wandry had a comment, I guess, there. So anyways, but yeah, college football. I'll tell you this, Jeremy, it's going to be interesting because I said this to a Poke fan on Twitter the other day. It's going to be a whole different dynamic, not thinking about the bowl game. And I know the last two bowl games haven't been that much anticipated because, the Alamo Bowl, coming off of everything up till 2020, you know what I mean? But it's just one of those situations where there's some amount of stress through the holidays wondering how OU is going to perform in their bowl game.
Well, there won't be this year.
No, that's what I mean.
It's going to just
be
melt
for
off
Tulsa
us.
or OSU. So,
yeah, the only thing that's stressful is knowing they're not going to get those 20 practices with the new OC.
No, but they'll figure things out.
I'm sure.
I mean, because he can give them literature, right?
Literature. Yes, I think he could probably give them a playbook.
You know what that's from, don't you?
What was that?
Ocean's 13, Bernie Mac.
Oh.
He goes, well, let's send me your literature. Bernie says, I don't need to send you no literature. Rest in peace, Bernie Mac. But no, this could be the year that families in this deep red state begin to heal.
That's right. It's time to heal.
Anyway, so like I said, it's just going to be different, but it will be. I mean, we're going to watch. You and I, we watch so that we can, talk about it on this podcast. But even if we didn't have this podcast, we'd be watching.
Yeah, I watched Bowling Green the other night.
Some action, huh?
Some action on Tuesday night. Heck yeah.
Well, I tell you what, the MAC has definitely, I think, taken better advantage of their weeknight opportunities than the Fun Belt and Conference USA. They're
Tuesday and Wednesday, we had all kinds of action.
There have been some stinkers from Conference USA so far this year.
You've seen who's in Conference USA, so
it's it's bad. It's bad. Anyways, but and so perfect transition, really, and we will get to some talk about the NBA, but I want to ask you what you thought about your reaction to the playoff committee's rankings. I don't see that big an issue with it because all of the doomsday people that say, they're setting it up. Well, no, I mean, in a way they're not, because there are conference champions that are going to be involved, and you don't know who's going to be. Right now, if I had to put you on the spot and say, who's going to win the SEC conference championship, the game, you can't even say definitely who might be in it.
I mean, the hottest team right now is Ole Miss.
Yeah.
So I couldn't. Georgia, if they got in there, would be a tough out. Tennessee's a good team. Texas is a good team. I know they haven't played anybody. Okay, well, Michigan didn't play anybody last year either. They were just fine, and they won a natty. Those are four: Georgia, Ole Miss, Bama. Hell, Bama, look what they did to freaking LSU last week. Just went in there and ran over
and just beat the tar out of them.
Good Lord.
Marty Wandry sent me something the other day, and I don't know, maybe he can explain on a comment, but he sent me a screenshot of, I think it was Caesars and BetMGM and whoever else that OU Alabama started at 2.5.
Well, it's now at 13.5 towards Bama.
So it corrected itself.
Yeah, it corrected. Yeah. Somebody must have, I don't know, not carried a one.
Somebody went and put $100,000 bet on it and said, "Yeah, give me OU.
Give me Bama. Cover that 2.5." Oklahoma can't even score 2.5 points.
Yeah, exactly. And we will preview that game in the upcoming episode next Friday on the Weekend Big Show, or Thursday. Really with your schedule, we could just permanently move to Thursday evening. It really wouldn't be a bad deal, other than if I've got a basketball game.
Sure. I have to see what the wife's work schedule goes with. Tomorrow I've got to take the kiddo to school. So
okay. I'm not seeing the text, or maybe Marty sent me a message on Facebook. I can't remember, but it was a 2.5 point
Oh,
favorite.
let me. Yeah, it's in Messenger.
Yeah. Um, yeah, because I sent it to you and you said, yeah, it was in the group thread. So
There it is.
once again, technology getting past grandpa. Oregon, obviously, would you say Oregon has the best win out of the top four?
They. Oh gosh,
I mean,
have
they
to
beat
jog.
Ohio State.
Yeah, that's a good win.
Yeah.
That's a really good win. Tennessee, they got that Oklahoma win to hang their hat on. So
The funny thing about all of this despair in Soonerland is the fact that, by being so terrible, it really hurts Texas.
I know Texas always did us a solid when they, lose when OU would lose to like Iowa State or something weird, but they beat Texas and there was a
Yeah.
strength of schedule aspect to the BCS.
Yeah.
It always helped them.
Indiana comes in at 5. They don't have any wins over a ranked opponent. That'll correct itself upcoming against Ohio State if they can do it. BYU, I tell you, Jeremy, it's a snake trap for them. I mean, it's just a matter of hang on for them.
Yeah, who they got this weekend? I remember I was looking at their games. They
They've
are
got
playing
Kansas
Kansas,
coming
who
to
is
Provo.
playing really well right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think I took BYU in my pick'em, but
I did. The spread was weird. It was 6.5. I want to.
yeah, I think so. And that BYU Utah game last week was just zany. I mean, to go to Salt Lake City and struggle the way they did, but win on a hold. I mean,
Yeah.
this is kind of weird, but hey, Big 12 refs, they've been tried and true. Miami falls to number 9, Bama at 10, Ole Miss at number 11. Question exit on the playoff poll, because I hate to give it too much time this time of year, because like I said, I've got my theories, but in essence, once conference championship games are played, there could be a whole different cast of characters.
As you look at it right now, Georgia is on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
They're sitting at 12, but that power 4 12 seed isn't getting in. That's going to go to the first group of 5, which is Boise State right now. Is that right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Boise State's sitting at 13.
Yeah.
And you got SMU that could very well win the ACC, sitting at 14.
Well, and according to their coach, you can't count out Missouri.
Oh God.
What's to be done with the ACC champion, and who gets to play in the ACC championship?
So let's see. I'm looking right now for so you have Miami and SMU right now. The top 2 play, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not divisional anymore.
No.
So right now it would be those 2 playing, but then you have Clemson lurking there.
Yeah, does Louisville have wins over any of them? Yeah, they beat Clemson last week. So yeah.
So I forgot about Louisville.
Yeah, you've got Louisville. Clemson's got Pitt this week.
Yeah, Louisville's 6-3, 4-2.
You've got SMU taking on Boston College, and then after that, they've got Virginia and Cal. So really, I'm not going to bank on SMU to finish any worse than 10-1. I'm sorry, 7-0.
You don't think they'll go worse than 7-0 in conference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they would have to really shoot themselves in the foot to lose this
in Miami,
Boston College, or to lose to Virginia or Cal.
And Miami's 1 loss is in conference, but they only have the 1 loss, so it'd be those 2.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they, stay where they're at right now.
Yeah. But, I mean, let's see. Yeah. So Clemson's got Pitt, and then they're done with their conference schedule.
Yeah, they have the Citadel and then
South Carolina.
USC Junior, yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, yeah, it would really suck to see SMU boxed out, if they got a conference loss and
That'd be awful. Now, Louisville has Pitt and then Kentucky, so they're almost done with their conference slate too.
Weird times, Jeremy. I don't know what to say.
Know.
All right, we got some comments. Marty Wandry, quit retracting your messages. I want to hear from you. Steve Anderson speaking as a Southeastern Oklahoma State alum. It won't happen. I think that was that when we were talking about them being
About them having a winning record.
yeah. Don't count it out yet, John or Steve. Dan Narva, 3 MAC games, 2 nights in a row, but couldn't help noticing the sparse crowds. Um, John Workman, K State, and then BYU plays. Yeah. The Big 12 championship could be real interesting too, because right now, I mean, you'd have to think Colorado has a line into it, and if BYU holds out, it could be them facing each other, right? I mean, K State. I mean, they've got the win over Colorado, but they've dropped one since then, right?
They are sitting at. They've got 2 conference losses because remember they just lost to Houston.
Yeah. So Iowa State with 2 losses. So right now, BYU and Colorado kind of in the driver's seat. And Colorado, they've got Utah this week. That could be a game where Whittingham, it's a noon game, or it's an 11 o'clock game, Jeremy. Whittingham could have his guys ready for that. They roll into Boulder, which they'll be used to the altitude. Right?
Yes. I was just thinking about Ohio State fans on the Twitter on X. Just freaking out because they have another 11 a.m. kickoff. They got Big Noon this weekend, and it's a rivalry. Who are they playing this weekend? Is it Indiana? No,
I think that's next week.
Anyways, it's a big game. I can't think of who it is, but they're all
they've got Northwestern after they slaughtered Purdue 45-0, which it could have been worse, but
they got another 11 a.m. kickoff.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Poor babies.
Yeah, it really sucks.
Now blow up your conference. You won't have to do it anymore.
Of course, they are crediting Fox with ruining Penn State's whiteout.
They did.
One of the greatest traditions in all of college football.
Yeah, let's have it at noon.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
But no, I was looking. I was looking at Big 12. So yeah, BYU. Who do they wrap up with? So BYU has got Kansas this week. Then Arizona State's pretty solid, and Houston's playing better. So BYU, it would just be interesting, Jeremy, to see the Big 12 try to. I mean, if the Big 12 has a champion that's got 2 losses, then the runner-up would have 2, and they're not getting in.
No. But if they got an undefeated team and a team with 1 or 2 losses, you might get 2 in. You never know.
What if the 2-loss team in the Big 12 is Colorado?
Oh, they'll definitely get in.
I think so.
Coach Prime.
And honestly, I can't say that would be anything that would keep me up at night.
I
mean, can you imagine the quality of the videos that will come out from Deion Sanders Jr. if they make a playoff? Oh my gosh!
See, now you're just being silly,
Fredo. You broke my heart, Fredo.
Put him on the boat.
Fredo doing Fredo things down the other night. Basically assaulting a ball boy. I mean, he's done that before, hasn't he? Hasn't he gotten crossways physically with some people?
I don't. Who's the Shiloh?
Oh,
got crossways with Oregon last year, the entire team, and then they just got their brains beat in.
Sadly, I think Deion Jr. was a pony. I think he played a hot minute at SMU.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he played at a couple different schools.
Yeah. Marty Wandry, BYU can slip up one game and still make it. Yes, definitely. But I mean, if they slipped up in the game and then slipped up in the if they drop a game and then drop the championship, they're out. Right?
Yes.
And that would in essence be your Big 12 runner up.
Yeah, and that would be only one Big 12 team in.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I can't say that's a huge surprise, right?
No.
I mean, we kind of knew going into it that this was going to be how it was geared.
Sure. Yeah, it's going to be geared towards the SEC and
the Big
Ten. Yeah. Maybe 2 ACC teams get in.
What do you think about Lincoln Riley and the USC Trojans getting put on probation?
What was the charge? Remind me. I read it, and now
coach is doing something. Let me. Sorry, I
impermissible contact with recruits.
I don't even know if it was that.
Oh, it was nonsense probably, but all the more it makes it all the more funny, right?
Well, I think it makes you a higher target if you're going to, um, if you're going to look at never going to, if you're going to look at never going to the pros until it's too late and you're lost the luster off your shine.
Fined
And then
$50,000 and placed on a year probation for on and off field coaching activities.
okay, so
Okay. They had analysts that were coaching in person too much.
yeah, okay, yeah, that's what it was. Um,
So nonsense.
they're going throwback jerseys against Nebraska this week.
USC
Yeah, picture I see.
throwback from
It's got a picture of I don't know who that is, but they're in a convertible with
well,
the three stripes on the sleeve.
they've been wearing their throwback helmet all season.
Yeah.
They changed their face mask from that weird gold color back to gray. So okay, now they're going to match the jerseys.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. It's just so funny to see anybody be inflicted any punishment in this day and time in college football. I don't.
It's like what? Yeah, DeMarco Murray got in trouble for sending a bunch of text messages to recruits after COVID rules had expired.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah. Sat out a game, right?
This is the kind of punishment we're doling out.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's the Wild West. We're just giving guys whatever they want. But yeah, Coach, sorry you sent a text message that was impermissible. We're going to fine you $50,000 and you have to sit a game.
Would Kelvin Sampson still be in trouble in this day and time, or is he going to get in trouble at Houston?
I doubt it. Everything he was doing at OU was made legal a couple seasons later, so he'd be just fine.
All right, let's wrap up college football. Let's go over our college football pick 'em real quick.
Yep.
Let me get mine pulled up. Actually, I think I'll work off of my cellular telephone. I really didn't have the worst week last week, but it sure wasn't anything to brag about. I think I had 11.
I think I had 11 as well.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, I went with chalk this week.
Uh-huh. I didn't. Well, go ahead. I got UCLA covering UCLA's getting 3.5 in Seattle against Washington. I like the Bruins on that one.
I took the Huskies playing at home. Night game.
I like Houston rolling into Tucson getting 1.5.
I don't like Houston. I just don't. And I think the Fafita kid is going to play better. He has to.
Yep. Well, I went anti-chalk on that one. Clemson, I like them covering the 10 at Pitt.
Got that same.
I like the Buffs covering 11 against Utah.
Same.
Of course, maybe I change that pick before tomorrow night's over, considering it's a 8 o'clock kickoff.
I think I picked against Texas every week this year, so I took the Horns, covering that 13.5 over Arkansas in Fayetteville.
Yeah, I wanted to hurt Connor Carr as much as I could, so I took Longhorn.
Sorry, Connor. I don't believe.
I like Tulane covering the 7 at Navy.
Same.
I like Liberty covering 14 at UMass.
Same.
My apologies to Dan Narva. I like the Fighting Illini at home giving 2.5.
I'm right there with you. I can't even do it for you, Dan.
Rainbow Warriors roll into where is Utah State?
That is man. Outside of Salt Lake City and Provo, I couldn't name another city.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But anyways, I like Hawaii. Of course, man,
I was torn on that.
I don't know what weather they're looking at Saturday in Utah.
I think Utah State has a pretty decent offense. So
I'm switching that one on the fly. I'm taking Utah getting the 2.5.
Okay.
They're awful, I think, but I mean that's a trip for Hawaii and it's altitude and it could be weather. Let's see who's running free for Philly.
I'm gonna play behind you. I've got the Calgo Rhythm covering the 8.5 against Syracuse.
I tell you, Jeremy, and I'm sure there's some stats that are wrong, but just on my limited memory, it seems like those East Coast teams traveling west just have not performed very well.
That'd be one Saquon Barkley running free for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah, they only have like what, a 2,700-mile trip
Yep.
to from Syracuse, New York to Berkeley.
Yeah. Purdue, Purdue at home.
Logan, Utah. Okay.
Logan. Okay. All right. Thanks, Steve Anderson. Sorry, Dan Narva, as he says, oh, well, I like Penn State giving the 28.5 to Purdue. That's an
Purdue's
awful
just
Boilermaker team.
that's a hot garbage dumpster fire.
Um, I don't I don't think Louisville will lose, but I sure don't like them giving 20.5 to Stanford on the West Coast.
You don't believe in Tyler Shook? Is that what you're saying?
Well, just that's a lot of points, and I'm tired of getting bit by these teams that should go on the road and blow teams out, and they don't. Oh, wait, I'm an OU fan. I should be used to that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Um,
gonna stick. I'm gonna stick with the Cardinals. There, they got so much to play for right now.
True. LSU giving 4.5 to the Gators. I think they've mailed it in for this season on Billy Napier. I like LSU to cover that.
This is one of those things where I'm gonna agree with you. I'm taking LSU. I think LSU's gonna go in there. I think they'll win by 2 scores.
Mm-hmm.
But then
SMU. Oh, go ahead.
part of me thinks that this is where Florida gets their crap together and LSU's mailed it in because they're on their third loss and
Well,
they're not getting in the playoff.
yeah, that's true. I don't know.
I'm still staying with LSU because
What's
I just
LSU
think
got? 2 conference losses or 3?
they're 6-3. Who'd they lose on opening night to USC? So they've
Yeah,
got 2
USC.
conference
So
losses.
I mean, we've seen. I don't know.
They're not getting in the playoff.
They're not getting in the conference championship game.
Uh, try they're I think they could get in the conference championship game, but I don't think they'll get in the playoff unless they win it.
Okay. We'll delve into that later. I
Yeah.
like SMU giving 17 to Boston College. Like I said, Castellanos, their quarterback, is away from the team. He's the one that led them on that big game against Florida State. But I like
Same.
Tony's giving 17. I like Air Force giving 4 or I like Oregon State giving 4 at Air Force.
Yeah, Air Force didn't.
They're
They're
bad.
not very good this year.
I like West Virginia getting 2.5 in Morgantown against Baylor.
Yes, yes. Mentally impaired people think alike. I have
Dave
also
Aranda,
taken.
Dave Aranda can't sustain that much success in a row, right?
I don't know. I've also got the Mountaineers,
Yeah.
and
What's his deal down there? Why have they been so mid? I mean, he had a heck of a defense his first 2 years there.
he did. Recruiting against Texas A&M, both in the SEC,
SMU.
as SMU going to the ACC, the rise of Texas State, UTSA has really watered down that recruiting for Baylor.
Yeah.
And maybe their NIL situation is not as good as we think it is.
And Texas Tech also. I mean,
Sure.
they're having a decent season. I like USC giving the 8.5 at home against Nebraska. I think whatever magic they pulled together to Colorado earlier in the season, that's completely gone.
Well, hey, we're also looking at a quarterback change for USC.
Well, that's true. But
The
8.5.
kid, what's his name? Transferred in from UNLV.
Kid from UNLV, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, he's a dual threat kid, and we know a certain jackwagon head coach out there does great things with dual threat quarterbacks.
Yeah,
We'll see.
he didn't prep for him real well, but
he only worried about one side of the football.
yeah, I don't know. Let's see here. I want to see something real quick. Who all's on his staff besides
Benny Wiley?
Jaden Maeva, I think, is the quarterback coming in for Miller Moss.
See any relation to Dwayne Rocky Johnson?
Was that his?
His dad's name was Rocky Maeva, or fought as Rocky Maeva.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
or his grandfather.
I don't mean this as bad as it sounds, but I mean, you're talking about a pretty small island area with a lot of descendants. So,
they could be kin.
Huh?
They could be kin. You don't know.
I'd say more than yeah. Let's see, coaches staff on because now that I'm curious about it, who all he's got on his staff. I mean, we know D'Anton Lynn
Hmm.
is the DC.
Oh man, Roy Manning.
Doug Belk is the secondary coach.
Where do
Uh,
I know that name from?
Matt, let me see. Uh, he'd been at Houston, I guess, under Holgerson.
Oh,
Holgerson.
okay.
Oh, you know what? I may change my pick. Nebraska's going to have Holgerson calling plays. He's been
Yeah. He was at TCU as an analyst 3 weeks ago, and now he's the OC at Nebraska midseason.
go Big Red. They're rolling into Compton and getting out of there with a win, baby.
Why couldn't BV just,
Yeah.
hey, Dana, come on in here. You could be an analyst for about 5 minutes and we're going to make you the OC.
Yeah. So Doug Belk, the secondary coach at USC, was at Houston. And
So is Roy Manning not on that team anymore? Or not on that
let's
staff?
see. D'Anton Lynn, Benny Wiley, director of
Uh,
football sports performance. Zach Crabtree. Where do I know that name from?
he's a Tulsa guy.
Okay. Now, was he Tulsa like Lincoln Riley's wife was at Tulsa? Or was he the one that had his wife still in Norman? He lived in Tulsa.
Well, no, that was Zach Hansen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spencer
Eric
Jones.
Henderson.
Hey, Buki Radley Hiles is a defensive graduate assistant. Good for
Oh
him.
my God.
Hey, I'm happy for the kid.
Zach Crabtree. I'm reading his bio.
Yeah. Taylor Mays, great defensive player
Oklahoma
for
State.
USC on the staff. Looks like, offensively, Luke Heward. Is he related to Brock, I guess?
I think that's one of her kids.
Oh, okay. There were two Hewards, right? Brock and Damon.
Yep.
All right. So, anyways, that's. I think I'm going to change my pick, Jeremy. I think I'm going to go with Holgerson.
Going with the Skullet, huh?
Especially, is Rayola healthy? Do we know?
I'm assuming he is.
All right.
I haven't seen anything to counter that.
Last couple of picks. I've got Missouri. I think they'll lose, but I think they'll cover the 12.5 at South Carolina.
Hey, Beamer's got the swagger back, man.
He does, but
Gamecocks by 1,000,000
is a good amount of point. And
I do not think Missouri is a good football team.
No, that defensive front for South Carolina will give Pine a lot of problems, but I still like them to cover 12.5, and that could be something where they scooch in on a late cover. Okay. Rutgers getting fine from Maryland. I think I took Rutgers just for Corey Hogue's sake, or Alicia.
I got Maryland.
I think Arizona State rolls into Manhattan and covers the 9.
Give me the Wildcats all day.
Boise State covers the 13.5 at San Jose.
Same.
Oregon covers the 14 at Camp Randall.
Yep.
And I've got Tennessee covering the 10 at Athens, but I think they'll lose.
Give me the Bulldogs.
Bulldogs. BYU covers the 3 at home against KU.
Yep.
And then my dog pick of the week, Jeremy. I know everybody talks about a super dog and all this stuff, but San Diego State will cover the 20.5 against UNLV.
I've got UNLV in that one.
Okay. Well, I hate you. Anyway, so, hey, real quick, this week was an interesting week basketball-wise in the NBA. Well, first off, college football got started, and I tell you, it got started last week with that 24 hours of basketball, but really once they start having like the State Farm Challenge and it's, what was it, Michigan State versus Kansas and Duke versus Kentucky, I mean, that was some good college basketball I watched, and man, the kid for Duke, Cooper Flagg, youngest player, I think, with a double-double, 26 points in a losing effort, but Kentucky was really good. That kid, I didn't think he looked very smooth at times, but I didn't get to watch the entire game, but obviously he was getting it done. But in the NBA, Jeremy, I know that you really probably wanted to drive your head into a brick wall with the injury to Chet Holmgren. I don't know. I mean, you hope when they say 10 weeks and then we'll reevaluate it, that puts some fear in me with a guy that tall and lanky and a hip issue.
No, it's a hip issue, yes, but it's not a ball socket issue.
What's the iliac? I want to.
Yeah, okay,
We
you know
need,
the wings
we
at the
need
top
Dean
of the
Lindsay.
hip girdle?
Huh?
The wings at the top of the hip girdle where the spine fits in.
Okay.
It's one of those.
All right.
So it's not, yeah, we used to call them hip pointers when we'd hit those things,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he broke one.
Yeah.
At least it's not in the actual hip ball socket joint, which we're talking Bo Jackson territory, and you're done.
Well, it was a wicked play that he fell on against Golden State. What was that, Sunday night, where he tried to block a layup attempt by Wiggins and fell hard. And I think probably just the playback that I saw, because I refused to pay for Bally's or FanDuel. The playback I saw was, you could tell just the air came out of the building.
Oh, man.
But, thing is that they get some players back, but I know the next day there was talk about, do they try, they've got equity to deal with. Do they go get another center? I don't know.
I don't know about that. We'll see. They'll probably play it by ear. If it looks like he's not going to get back around the trade deadline, maybe they do. But remember, they got Isaiah Hartenstein coming back. If they can limp along with Hartenstein and Usman Jing,
yeah.
What's
Jay Will's look to come back?
Oh, he should be back soon too. I think he had a hamstring, so maybe another week.
Yeah,
but they're very small right now.
Yeah,
they're playing a lot of small ball. They're defending the crap out of people, even their size.
Yeah, you have to.
But you got to get bigger. They desperately need Hartenstein right now. And I saw on Twitter today that he is practicing without a brace on his hand. So it could be this week, next week.
Yeah. Well, and I hate to see that. And honestly, what do you got?
Marty, I saw that too. Classic.
Picture of Beck and Tim from South Park. Which Beck?
Carson.
Oh.
Beck.
Yeah.
Beck, Odelay, Beck.
Yeah.
2 turntables and a microphone? No, the other guy.
No, that's the other guy. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Carson Beck, Georgia quarterback. Spelled out for me, Marty. Come on! Yeah.
Come on!
Well, I peed off some of my friends from my old police days when they announced that Matt Gaetz was going to be the attorney general. I automatically dialed up the butthead picture comparison. So, anyways, So I'll just say this, and the guy scored 50 last night, but man, San Antonio needs to protect Wemby at all costs, because you don't need that guy going down with some crazy. And it's those big, long, lanky guys.
Yeah.
As long as the word Liz Frank injury is not.
That's where I was going with this, because remember, Chet had the Liz Frank his rookie season. And if he's going to be hurt, I'm glad it's something. I'm not glad he's hurt, but I would prefer it not be foot related.
Yeah.
Or Bill Walton, his entire career was derailed by foot injuries.
Yeah, it was. He had terrible feet. So Thunder win last night, 106-88 at home versus New Orleans, and it looks like it looks like to me, Jeremy, that Jalen Williams, J-Dub, probably is going to fulfill a lot of that prophecy at the beginning of the season, that he could come out and really show that he's truly the number 2 guy on this team, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it was one of them was going to be an all-star.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that was the I don't want to say expectation, but the hope is one of those 2 guys could come out and play at an all-star level. And I think Dub might be the guy, because he's available, which is the best ability to have, right? Availability.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. They've got Phoenix coming in tomorrow night at 7:00, and Durant is out of that as well. So they'll have to D up on, obviously,
Booker
book, yeah.
and
What's his first name? I have
Devin
a brain
Devin
fart.
Booker.
Devin Booker. Yeah, starts at Kevin. I start to say Dennis. Uh, but I mean, they're 8-2 on the season. They're on a 2-game win streak and got several, a couple more home games. So it's not the worst. You don't want to lose Chet Holmgren, but it's
No,
not.
they're 10-2, Chuck.
Why
Yeah,
am I
they're
seeing
10
8-2
wins.
on mine?
I don't know. I was pretty sure they were 10-2.
I've got 8
I
and 2
mean,
on my score app, Bo. No, 10
well,
and 2, 10 and 2.
yeah.
Last 10,
I've
last
got
10.
10-2 in my heart, sir.
Sorry. Yeah, they're 8-2 in their last 10. So, uh,
Yes.
but anyway, so a good win last night. And then, like I said, my Spurs get a 139-130 win over the Wizards, and Victor Wembanyama, fourth youngest player in NBA history to record a 50-point game. So he's taking a lot of threes.
Yeah, you hate to see it, but then you love to see it if he makes them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
But okay, no, that's not your game, kid. Get on
thing
that
is,
boat.
thing is, Jeremy, does he come close to even making that many 3 attempts with Pop on the bench?
No, and you saw the latest about Pop, right?
I saw
He had a
something.
he had a stroke.
Yeah, it was a small stroke, I think.
Yeah, I mean, hell, they're all serious though.
Yeah, it is.
So
Um,
going forward, they don't really know what a timeline is. Man, he just should
he needs to
retire.
retire.
He's given enough to the game, right?
Yeah,
I
I
know
mean, it's time. But Wemby was 8 of 16 from 3-point line last night. He took
16 threes.
he took 16 threes. That's more than twice of
God
anybody else on the team.
dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
50%. I mean,
Yeah, what about that night he goes 1 for 16 and you want to tear all your hair out?
he may. You never know. And then tonight, let's see, Dallas is tied with Utah in the third, 11:05 left to go in that. Tulsa ties it up 24-all at the end of the third. East Carolina has the ball back. Here's the thing, Jeremy. The offensive coordinator search, when does it begin for Oklahoma? I mean,
It's already started.
Started just informal, improper phone calls or what?
Well, I mean, I'm sure agents have been contacted. That's not improper, right?
I hope not. Oklahoma State won tonight against Southern Illinois, 85-78. And it looks like, oh, gosh, Abu Osmani got 18 points, 4 rebounds.
Abu
Osmani. I'm pretty certain. I think I'm all right on that pronunciation. So
I have no idea.
College football, this is going to be a season of really kind of reckoning for Porter Moser and Norman, I think, Jeremy, because if they end up in the cellar, he don't have the credit that Venables has built up within the athletic administration. If he middle of the pack SEC, if he can't pull that, he's gone.
He's got to get in the tournament. He's got to get in the tournament.
That's the big thing.
I think a tournament bid, buys you a couple more seasons. And from what I've been told, he thinks he has a really good team. The Fears kid looks to be dynamite.
Yeah.
So, they had a rough one night before last against Northeastern State.
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana.
Well, they trailed, but then they pulled out Northwestern.
Yeah, they ended up winning by like 15 or something like that.
I mean, it's November.
Yeah, I mean the SEC is not the meat grinder that the Big 12 is. Yep. So you think there might be a 3 or 4 game improvement. Yep. Let's hope.
Exit topic, as this is going to be our last broadcast of the week. We won't be on the college football wrap-up show on Saturday night since Oklahoma is on a bye. OSU's on a bye, and we'll just sit back and enjoy some college football. But last night, LeBron James has his third straight triple double as LA beats Memphis 128-123, 35 points, 14 assists, and 12 rebounds. He has to have that right now because the debacle that's going on with how LA is handling his son's contract and playing stipulations just is reflecting terrible on him. I don't care what any of the pundits on the mothership say. He's got a bad public look right now with the way they're handling his son's playing.
Yeah, I
And for those not familiar, they came out and said that the South Bay Lakers, which is the G League team for the Lakers, where LeBron James Jr. will play, he will not travel with the team. He'll play home games.
yeah, he's playing home games only.
What
And
I mean, I mean,
it's
even Gottlieb says no kid can develop that way.
no. And man, and we know everyone knows it's a farce. Just to keep LeBron happy. What
No.
that is the strangest franchise. You know, they gave Kobe all that money. We understood why they gave Kobe all that money after he won his 5 rings, right? He was
A
pretty
lot
much
of
done.
jerseys.
Yeah, they weren't gonna compete for a while. They were thinking they were gonna retool. So they gave Kobe that ridiculous contract and did nothing for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And then they bring LeBron in, which the Lakers have never been a big free agent destination, anyways, right?
No, I
Do you
mean,
think besides like Shaq,
was Anthony Davis brought in on a trade?
that was a trade?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I thought.
And you bring LeBron in, you get that bubble title, and then you just bend over backwards to
Yeah.
appease him.
hmm
And they're not doing anything more than they would be doing if they had just blown the whole thing up after the bubble and rebuilt.
But let me ask you this, and you know how begrudgingly I would even ask this question. Is he must-see TV for the common adult NBA fan
Yeah, the common adult NBA fan that is
that just hugs his
just
back?
just
Right.
wants to swing on them, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, what do they call them? Bronzexuals.
Yeah, there you go.
He's the greatest of all time, really.
But when enough of them turn on their TV sets, and and I would imagine all this streaming is a lot more traceable now. They get real readings on ratings. Um, Marty Wandry says he heard it was because he wouldn't fly commercial. I don't know if he said he wouldn't, but it was stated that he's not flying commercial.
Who, Bronny?
Yeah, Bronny. It was an airlines deal.
Oh my goodness. See, that's ridiculous. And
Yeah.
that's entitlement and LeBron Bronny
Well, I mean,
has
let me
met,
just to play devil's advocate, Jeremy. Is it a security issue? I mean, you've seen the lax security that the Blue have rolling into Will Rogers World
but
Airport.
that's what he is.
Well, he's
That's what he
the
is.
son of a billionaire who's the highest profile player in the NBA. I mean,
Well, then have Daddy put him on his own plane.
yeah, fly. How about you put the
Let
whole
Daddy
team on
fly
plane?
him around.
Yeah,
You know, do what Jordan did and build a custom bus for his minor league baseball team.
yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm with you, but I have to play a devil's advocate on that. But it's a joke. But I'll say this about LeBron, and the rave talk today on Sports Talk was, what he's able to do in year 21 and his age. It's making him the GOAT argument, this and that. Here's the thing. He is a tremendous physical specimen. He is a tremendous tribute to fitness and health and all that stuff. I would imagine he's got to be pretty close to an Achilles pretty soon.
Nah, he's taking enough HGH. He's fine.
So on a pharmaceutical level, you're saying that could offset some of that.
Yeah, that would.
I mean, has he
That
got
would.
some sort of hoodoo voodoo that they inject in his system to?
Well, the human growth hormone would keep the tendons and ligaments pliable, so he wouldn't have those he would be as susceptible to those kind of injuries.
Is his head is bigger now than it was when he started?
And it would also make all his hair fall out.
Well, he's hanging on there.
Well, no, that's not hair. That's that stuff that comes in the spray can.
But
When he wore his headband up around the top of his head.
Here's the thing. Everybody says, that Jordan's time with the Wizards, he was a shell of himself. Well, we know he mistreated his body a bit. I mean,
LeBron's not playing 36 holes, a beer a hole, high stakes gambling
smoking
on the
cigars
golf
on the
course
regular
and then playing an NBA Finals game, is he?
Yeah. But I'll say this. I mean, you have to look at it and say the medical technology that's been afforded to LeBron in his last 10 years is way more advanced than what Jordan had. And then also
the chemistry.
when you talk about LeBron having success earlier than Jordan, Even though he didn't win a final until he got with the super team, but having success earlier with Jordan. Well, here's the thing.
Jordan was winning NCAA titles.
He did, but winning his first 5 years in the league, it wasn't just that he couldn't get past the Celtics or Detroit. It was the fact that they murdered him on a regular basis.
Yeah, and those were great teams.
He couldn't drive to the hole without just getting massacred.
But look at this, Chuck. How many great teams were in the East when LeBron came in?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, when Jordan came into the league in 1983, you had the Showtime Lakers. Well, you had the Celtics, who were still, they were just entering.
Yeah, it was Lakers, Celtics. Run. Then the Bad Boys came around.
The Bad Boys.
Houston was the line of Twin Towers.
Houston had the Twin Towers.
So, and I get that. I'll say this. I mean, didn't LeBron come in just about the time that Seattle blew up? Seattle and Minnesota gave Boston, those players on a song, Ray Allen,
yep.
Kevin Garnett. I mean, so Boston was a contender. I think was Iverson. Iverson was done pretty much when he came in. I'm trying to think in 2003. But yeah, for the entire
don't forget the
Eastern
Spurs
Conference, the East was not a murderer's row at all.
No.
But I'm just saying, even on just the daily things that we know now about athletic recovery that were not in play in 1995,
No. I mean, Jordan was a psycho.
Yeah.
He'd go out gambling all night.
And I'm not saying that makes him the GOAT, but what makes him the GOAT is the fact that he didn't lose a final. And when he went out there and he was at the top of his game, there wasn't any losing. He wasn't going to walk out of that place with losing a series.
Can you imagine Michael Jordan and Dennis Rodman playing today with the type of technology, the type of recovery, whatever else they're doing, and being on the straight and narrow?
Yeah.
I don't think Jordan could handle it, because I think that was just too much of his personality, because everything he did was competitive.
And hey, kudos to LeBron for realizing that his body is his moneymaker. He's an athletic freak. I truly believe that. I'm not taking anything away from him on that, but really, I mean, it's going to be a generational divide. You and I will never see him as the GOAT. People in their 20s and 30s will never see him not as the GOAT. So
I'm still taking Larry over him.
Kobe.
I always loved Kobe. I watched Kobe lock him up in an All-Star game.
Kobe had daggers. Man, Cliff Kingsbury, the Northeast is not suiting him as well as Phoenix did.
Well, no, he
looks pasty and kind of sickly. Man, Washington needs a warm spell. All right, we need to get out of here, but we appreciate everybody who tuned in on YouTube Live, and we appreciate all of our fans doing so. As I mentioned, we went early tonight just because it was pretty convenient for us, and I've got playoff football. Playoff football tomorrow night, Jeremy. Weatherford Eagles take on the Bethany Broncos at Woody Rowe Field in Weatherford, and then our good friend Marty Wandry gets to travel to Blanchard as the Red Tornadoes take on the Lions in Class 4A playoffs.
We need to launch an investigation into why these teams have that H in Broncos.
Why they have what?
The H in the Broncos.
Yeah, I want to know something about that. Seems like that's going to be one of those Nate Bargatze skits with George Washington. We will spell Broncos two different ways. One with a C and one with a C.
Nobody knows.
Why would we do that? No one knows. All right. Thanks for joining me, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, he's Jeremy Schroeder, ruler of the airways. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog. This has been the Weekend Big Show, and we will have it saved for you on our YouTube page at Law Dog Sports. You can listen to the audio at your convenience on our podcast pages, SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. Please follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, X, and Instagram at Law Dog Sports. And please, 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 please subscribe here on our YouTube channel. We really would appreciate it very much. Dan Narva, Marty Wandry, Steve Anderson, John Workman, and many others. Thank you for checking in with us. Be safe out there. Don't text and drive, and sure don't drink and drive. And we'll talk to you real soon.